Good morning, and welcome to the celebration of the winners of the 2020-2021 Smithsonian Excellence in Exhibitions Awards. I'm Susan Ades, Director of Smithsonian Exhibits and one of the coordinators of this program, along with Krista Stabler from the National Museum of the American Indian and Julia Garcia from the National Museum of American History. You may be wondering why we are celebrating 2 years worth of exhibitions, or maybe it's obvious. The pandemic scrambled exhibition schedules along with all semblance of normal life. So we thought it only fair to combine 2 years into one awards program, and we're delighted to be able to do so. This is the 4th year of the Exhibition Excellence Awards. Started in 2017, the awards are a chance to recognize and showcase the exhibition achievements of our Smithsonian colleagues. We're so happy to have this forum to celebrate exhibitions and exhibition makers. This program is coordinated by Smithsonian Exhibits and PEEPS, a large group of exhibit professionals across SI, all of whom work every day to create unique exhibition experiences for our visitors. Exhibitions in this program are judged against 5 key criteria: design excellence, superior audience engagement, robust scholarship, innovative techniques and approaches, and significant collaboration. I'd like to thank our 4 judges: Cara Blond, formerly of National Museum of Natural History and the Capitol Jewish Museum; David McKenzie from Ford's Theater Society; Kim Rice from the George Washington University Corcoran Museum Studies Program; and Juanita Witchenkier, Head of Design at Smithsonian Exhibits. We all appreciate the time you put into reviewing and commenting on the many worthy proposals we received. Which brings us to this morning's celebration. I am so pleased that we can recognize 2 winners of the 2020-2021 Exhibition Excellence Award: Food for the People, Eating and Activism in Greater Washington at the Anacostia Community Museum, and Girlhood, It's Complicated at the National Museum of American History. The Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum received a Special Achievement Award for Willi Smith Street Couture. You'll have a chance to hear about these extraordinary exhibitions in a few minutes. But first, let me introduce our secretary, Lonnie Bunch, who will share some thoughts about these award-winning projects. We also have Undersecretary Kevin Gover, who will be sharing thoughts and words of congratulations at the end of the program.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Excellence in Exhibitions Award Ceremony for 2020 and 2021. Let me first take a moment to thank Susan for her hard work to make today's events possible and for her year-round leadership at Smithsonian Exhibitions. The Excellence in Exhibitions Awards is an opportunity to celebrate the best of the Smithsonian. It recognizes the extraordinary creativity, dedication, and expertise of our colleagues. It reminds us that truly great exhibitions are underpinned with rigorous scholarship, but they also humanize history. Exhibitions teach, engage, and change minds. They're also among the most difficult things to pull off. The people who come up with ways to present scholarship and complex material in a compelling way must be part engineer, part artist, part educator, and part magician. When done right, visitors will walk away thinking about a great exhibition for years to come. I know that has always been the case for me. I'll always remember seeing the Spirit of St. Louis for the first time as a kid, suspended overhead in the North Hall of the Arts and Industries building. It was almost like I was watching that small but mighty plane soar in the skies above me. My dad was a scientist. He would bring us to the Smithsonian to use the exhibition and the collections to teach us about history, art, and culture. There are so many examples of brilliant exhibitions I've seen over the years. I learned so much from the excellence of colleagues around me, and their work was influential in the way I viewed my job as a curator. I remember the Nation of Nations exhibition at American History that celebrated the country's bicentennial in 1976. In a groundbreaking way, it really spoke to the rich diversity of America and how much we owe so much of our identity and our character to the contributions of people and cultures from around the world. and I was completely inspired and motivated by Spencer Crew's exhibition From Field to Factory, which explored the great migrations of African Americans from the South to the North from 1915 to 1940. I was so impressed that despite a dearth of artifacts, he was able to draw from stories and oral histories and the use of mannequins and set designs to evocatively depict African American life. It proved to me that with enough determination and creativity from a curatorial point of view, you can overcome any obstacle and bring an exhibition to life. The honorees today uphold that tradition of excellence and creativity. The exhibitions that are being recognized today are educational, resonant, and socially relevant. I was so struck by the Anacostia Community's Museum's Food for the People, Eating and Activism in Greater Washington. This exhibition embodies so many beliefs that I hold deeply about the museum. One is that museums have a social justice role to play. And the other is that museums can't be community centers, but they should be at the center of their community. Food for the People highlights how important it is for communities to have access to fresh food, and that people in the region are working to address those disparities that are often overlooked, because they're overlooked aspects of race and class inequality. What an important exhibition. Today's other honoree is the National Museum of American History's Girlhood, It's Complicated, which explores the diverse perspectives of what it means to grow up female in the United States. The exhibition is rooted in the scholarship of women's history and a growing realization that girls have their own history of being change makers and being leaders. Girlhood also highlights the power of collaboration, as it was done in partnership with the Smithsonian Institution Traveling Exhibition Service and as part of the Smithsonian American Women's History Initiative. These awards speak to the Smithsonian's commitment to telling the full story of America's past, which can only happen when we give voice to those who have often been silenced. So congratulations to both of your teams for the Smithsonian Awards. Finally, let me recognize Cooper Hewitt, the Smithsonian Design Museum exhibition, Willi Smith, Street Couture, which has garnered the Special Achievement Award. This cutting-edge exhibition celebrates fashion's ability to transform our daily lives and to shape how we understand the people and the world around us. Examining the life and legacy of the late designer Willi Smith, who broke barriers of race and sexuality, this exhibition recreates some of his showrooms and boutiques. It's the kind of artistic and creative success that Cooper Hewitt is so adept at producing. So let me say how pleased and honored I am to celebrate these exhibitions. And to every person who had a hand in making these exhibitions possible, let me offer a well-deserved congratulations and thank you. You have set a pattern for the Smithsonian that we will have to meet. And I thank you and enjoy the rest of the celebration.
Many thanks to Secretary Bunch for those words. And now on to the fun part. On behalf of the Excellence Awards Committee and the judges, we are so pleased to award the 2020-2021 Exhibition Excellence Award to Food for the People, Aiding and Activism in Greater Washington at the Anacostia Community Museum. So I'm going to read just a few of the judges' comments about this exhibition. Love the outdoor solution to the COVID challenge with creative, oversized, visually inviting experiences. Great collection and use of oral history to really bring out people's voices. Brilliant use of the chicken wing as a means to explore the food system more broadly. Asks big, relevant, and thoughtful questions centered around food and how it matters. Trying to get audiences to ask critical questions that connect food to everything, from politics to cultural traditions, with the ultimate goal to inspire viewers to take action. Design is clever and inspired. Love the plates. Makes content accessible and engaging. Cool and effective interactives, like picking tomatoes or assembling a school lunch that reinforce content. So accepting the award on behalf of the Anacostia Community Museum is Samir Migueli, Senior Curator Senior Curator at the museum. Samir?
Good morning, and thank you for that generous introduction, Susan, and to the committee for all of their work. And thank you to Secretary Bunch for those kind words. I'm truly delighted to be able to accept this award on behalf of the Anacostia Community Museum for our exhibition, Food for the People. It's a tremendous honor, and we're deeply grateful to the Exhibition Awards Committee for this recognition of our work. We're also thrilled to be able to share this award with our colleagues at the National Museum of American History for their exhibition, Girlhood, It's Complicated. And we congratulate our colleagues at Cooper Hewitt on their Special Achievement Award. When we began our work on Food for the People several years ago, we couldn't have imagined that the food justice issues we were researching would burst into public consciousness because of a global pandemic. But the pandemic did indeed spur a national conversation about the very topics we were exploring: food insecurity and hunger, the food supply chain, the financial precarity and safety of food workers, from farm workers to restaurant workers. And in short, the inequalities and disparities that shaped and continue to shape our food system. These are the kinds of stories that we wanted to foreground. And so the pandemic only reinforced for us the necessity of telling these stories in this moment. But I have to say that the pandemic also forced us to fundamentally rethink our approach to the exhibition. What began as a traditional gallery exhibition ultimately turned into a two-part indoor and outdoor exhibition. We wanted the content to be made available to the public despite our building being closed and despite the uncertainty about when we might reopen. So we decided to use and really reimagine our museum's front plaza as an exhibition space. In April 2021, while our building was still closed, we opened the outdoor component of Food for the People, in which we tried to highlight in artistic and visually interesting ways some of the core issues the larger exhibition would explore, but also really to highlight change makers in the local food system, people working to make our food system more equitable and sustainable. And finally, in early August of 2021, we were able to open the indoor component of the exhibition. And so the indoor and outdoor components together reflect, we hope, the incredible stories, the incredible community stories that we were able to document, particularly of the last 60 or so years. The longtime family-run restaurants and grocers that have served local communities over generations and who have helped sustain the rich food cultures of the DC region. The food workers whose labor makes our food possible, and the history of their struggles for safe working conditions and fair wages. The frontline administrators of government programs that have sought to support both agriculture and everyday people, like school lunch and SNAP, or what for a time was called the food stamp program. The community organizations and activists who work to ensure that no one goes hungry and who've advocated for robust support and services for those most in need. We conducted more than 100 oral history interviews with a wide range of such community members, did extensive community collecting, and we hope this shines through in the exhibition. Working on this exhibition at ACM, we were a team of many. On the curatorial side, I have to single out Dominique Hazard, who was absolutely central to helping craft the vision and developing the content for the exhibition, but also our education team headed by Andrea Jones, who was an integral part of the exhibition team, our collections team, our advancement team, our project manager from SI Exhibits, Rob Wilcox, the Smithsonian Libraries, our facilities staff, and our OPS staff, and the list goes on. Our exhibition designers, Jeannie Crone and Patrick Rogan, did an outstanding job. They truly worked in imaginative and ingenious ways to bring the content to life. And they were, as always, wonderful to work with. And of course, our director, Melanie Adams, whose vision for the museum and whose unwavering support made the exhibition possible. I'd just like to close by dedicating this exhibition award to the memory of Zora Martin Felton, who passed away only 2 weeks ago at the age of 91, and who served as the founding and longtime education director of our museum. Truly a dedicated, determined trailblazer in community museology, always looking to put communities at the center of the museum's work. Her example has inspired generations of museum professionals, and that continues to be true for our team at ACM. So in her memory, we accept this award. Thank you again to the awards committee for this tremendous honor. And we look forward to welcoming you all, our Smithsonian colleagues, to the Anacostia Community Museum where you can still see this exhibition, which will be on view until September 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir, and congratulations again to the Anacostia Community Museum. So sharing the 2020-2021 Exhibition and Excellence in Exhibitions Award is Girlhood. It's complicated. And here are a few of the judges' comments about Girlhood. The accessible thematic approach, fresh design scheme, juxtaposition of objects and candid language and content was deeply engaging and felt fresh and creative. Nice mix of big concepts and individual stories. This is a rare instance where the final design and content deliver on the concept and intent for the exhibit to have a consistent visual and written voice of a girl that carries through in various forms. Exhibit graphics based on zines and the exhibit voice based on how girls talk and are talked to are playful and engaging. And the labels are written in such a way that they also come across in the girl's voice. High commendation for the use of varied approaches, including low-tech feedback cards and higher tech digital means of engagement, from the virtual tour to online interactives. Accepting the award on behalf of the National Museum of American History is Kathleen Franz, Chair and Curator in the Division of Work and Industry at the National Museum of American History. Kathleen?
Thank you so much, Susan, for reading those comments. We really appreciate it. And thank you to the Excellence in Exhibition Committee and Secretary Bunch for recognizing Girlhood, It's Complicated. On behalf of the entire team, we're so grateful for this award. We also want to congratulate Samir Migueli and Alexandra Cunningham Cameron on their amazing exhibitions. You can bet I'm really going to go see those as soon as I have time. It's wonderful to be in such great company for this award. I'd like to take a minute to thank our team and our critical partners. And I wish I could thank everyone individually in our more than 30-person team in American history. And I'm sorry that that is just not possible, but we've put it all into one of our slides. Thank you to the project manager, Rebecca Kokinda, audience developer, Megan Smith, and curators who were so critical behind the audience engagement, understanding who our audiences were and doing that amazing writing. Nancy Burkoff, Mireya Loza, Veronica Mendez, and Sam Bong. Thank you to the American Women's History Initiative for making the exhibition possible and creating partnerships across the institution for us. Also, a special thanks to Anthea Hardig, Benjamin Filing, and the leadership at the National Museum of American History, who supported us unconditionally throughout the process. Thanks as well to our partners at the Smithsonian Traveling Exhibition Services, who will take the show on the road beginning in March of 2023. The Smithsonian Latino Center, who provided critical funding for staff support for this exhibition, and the innovative design team at Howard and Revis, who created an exhibition with joy and humanity. When we were asked to create an exhibition for the anniversary of women's suffrage, our team wanted to rethink what a commemorative exhibition could do. We wanted to really raise questions about gender, how it's created, debated, and reconfigured in the United States over time by looking at the history of girlhood. As Secretary Bunch said, girlhood is really getting a fresh look in women's history and gender studies these days. Over the last 10 years, there's been an outpouring of new literature that looks at women's history through the lens or the eyes of girls. We also wanted to use the exhibition to collect stories and objects that complicated the history of girlhood and added new perspectives to the national collections. So we really wanted to have a lasting legacy in reshaping how future generations will think about girlhood through the Smithsonian Institution. None of this would have been possible without people, and those people who were willing to partner with us, donate their objects, and share their life stories. Among those partners were Ryan Engelkirk and Jazz Jennings, who were willing to talk about growing up as transgender individuals. We know from them and from our visitor feedback that representation matters, sometimes even more than we had imagined. So I'd like to read what one visitor wrote to me about 2 weeks ago. Dear Girlhood team, I wanted to reach out and personally thank you for including transgender girls in your Girlhood It's Complicated exhibition. Growing up, I never saw this type of representation. It wasn't until my mid-30s that I even knew there was a word for how I felt. I started transitioning shortly afterwards. Your actions have helped ensure that young trans girls will know they are valued and there is a place for them in our society. This type of representation saves lives. So for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, SM. We are so grateful for this award, but I have to say that on behalf of our team, this visitor's letter means the world to us. The histories that we share matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen, and congratulations again to the American History team. Finally, we are delighted to award the Special Achievement Award to the Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum for Willi Smith Street Couture. And here are a few of the judges' comments about that exhibition. Cool, textured, visually engaging set design and architectural displays for object, context, and backdrop. Bricks, crates, broken backdrops were particularly dramatic against traditional building scape. Sculptural graphic design was clever. Strong community archive. Well done collaboration among different SI units. Great innovation with the online exhibit platform, moving that genre forward. Exhibit design was in keeping with the content and design approach of Willi Smith's fashion itself, so much so that it seemed like Willi Smith could have designed the exhibit personally. Commendable for its exhibit design originality, from the graphic supports made from wire mesh to the use of Willi Wear ivy. Accepting the award on behalf of Cooper Hewitt is Alexandra Cunningham Cameron, who is Curator of Contemporary Design and the Hinz Secretarial Scholar at the museum. Alexandra?
Thank you so much. And on behalf of the Willi Smith team and Cooper Hewitt, I'd like to thank Secretary Bunch, Undersecretary Gover, Smithsonian Exhibitions, the judges for recognizing Willi Smith Street Couture. So big congratulations to our colleagues at Anacostia Museum and NMAH on their awards. We're in such good company. Sharing the life and work of Willi Smith really inspired us to think deeply about what an exhibition should be, what an exhibition could be, leading up to and also throughout what has become one of the most trying times of our lives. I know a lot of you shared this experience. And what we produced really followed the example set by Willi Smith himself to collaborate, experiment, be inclusive, and also to try to have fun. Willi Smith was a Black American designer whose democratic ethos made fashion both affordable and desirable. He collaborated with artists, with architects and performers to push fashion in new directions and show his audience that they could have the same command over their personal style and make their clothes fit their lives. He was born in 1948 in Philadelphia and died in 1987 from complications of Ades. The Willi Smith Street Couture project evolved throughout our work into several different formats. It didn't start out in one way. It became a physical exhibition at Cooper Hewitt, taking over 4 historic rooms of the Carnegie Mansion. The exhibition was designed by Smith's collaborator, James Wines from Site Architects, who's turning 90 this year, if you can believe it, with Sam Shemaev Architects, and graphic design by Polymode. The scenography echoed the interiors of Smith's Willi Wear showrooms and boutiques, monochrome gray streetscapes constructed of reclaimed construction materials. I cannot overstate the challenges and the innovations that our expert exhibitions team produced to make this show accessible and safe. The exhibition also included constellations of Smith's own work and collaborations with artists like Christo and Jean-Claude, Bill T. Jones, Keith Haring, legends in their own right. It was sectioned into themes, runway, dance, design, and film, each revealing how Smith and his partner, Laurie Mallet, were innovating across disciplines. You know, when we began to research Willi Smith and his brand WilliWear, there was very little a Google search could turn up. And we relied heavily on the stories told to us by Smith's friends, his family, his colleagues. And these anecdotes, memories, and tales about Willi Smith collected by our curatorial team and our research interns and fellows really became foundational to our monograph, Willi Smith Street Couture, which was published by Rizzoli and led by Pamela Horn at Cooper Hewitt, which prints 50 new texts, remembrances from people who knew him, alongside new scholarship and conversations with artists, designers, academics, bringing new perspectives on Willi Smith's contribution. But the stories kept coming. And so we decided to prototype a new way to work with our audience and open up our process of collecting and sharing his work, the Willi Smith Digital Community Archive, which you're seeing on the screen now. In the fall of 2019, we announced an open call for Willi Smith and WilliWear related stories and images. People began to submit important garments and illuminating memories. Former WilliWear staff got in touch, fans who never knew Smith but wore WilliWear to their prom. And when the exhibition closed to the public on its opening day, March 13, 2020, the same day that almost all museums in New York City closed, the digital archive launched, and it became a new way to keep discussing Smith during lockdown. The archive's videos and searchability provided a resource and also respite, alongside incredibly creative virtual programs run by our education department that featured speakers like Virgil Abloh and model and advocate Beth Ann Hardison, oral histories, and a two-part symposium, Fashion, Culture, Futures, African American Ingenuity, Activism, and Storytelling, produced in collaboration with NAMAC. And the learning from the archive and of course, Cooper Hewitt's forward-thinking digital emerging media department spawned the last formal iteration of this project, a digital exhibition platform, which was designed by Link by Air as a new template for putting exhibitions online. It's begun with Willi Smith, which you can visit online. Please go to our website and do so if you have time. And will continue to be a platform for other shows that Cooper Hewitt produces. It really recreates a feeling of discovery in the galleries while amplifying scholarly work of our institution for long-term use. So please visit if you can. As you can see, this has been a tremendous team effort. I continue to be in awe of the work of Cooper Hewitt, the entire staff who put everything they could into advancing the aims of Willi Smith. And we had tremendous support from Gucci, from Target, the Herring Foundation, and of course, Ed and Helen Hintz, who believed in our vision. I think at some point when we were making the final push for the publication, Helen volunteered to help us copy edit. So that's how much of a team effort this was. It challenged us in so many ways and really modeled exhibition making as a process of transformation and experimentation rather than a destination. And so I'm honored to accept this on behalf of the incredible team at Cooper Hewitt, and thank Willi Smith for inspiring us.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in these awards this morning. We really appreciate you all being here. Heartfelt congratulations to the Girlhood team, the Food for the People team, and the Willi Smith team. You've made us proud. And as exhibitions will always be at the center of our work at the Smithsonian. And it's amazing that you were able to achieve this in such a difficult time. So thank you all. Let me finally thank Smithsonian Exhibitions, and in particular Susan Ades for carrying forward this program. Susan has announced that she will be retiring from the Smithsonian in just a few days. And while we're very sorry to see her go, we're very, very grateful for all the great work that she's done to support exhibitions at the Smithsonian. So with that, I join the Secretary in commending all of you for all of your good work, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Kevin. And thanks to all who have tuned in. I know we're right at the end of our time. I just want to say congratulations again to our 3 winning teams. You've all shown that even during a pandemic, these unprecedented times, you've shown that exhibitions at the Smithsonian can still be an incredible showcase of creativity, design, scholarship, and visitor engagement. You make all of us at the Smithsonian so proud to work on exhibitions. And the last thing I'll say is stay tuned for forthcoming details about the 2022 awards program. We'll be in touch about that. Thanks everyone, and bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.